Let's see how long this one lasts. Hey, what's going on? So today I wanted to talk about my current studio setup, year 2020. I'm sure it's going to change a week after this video, but I posted a photo of this on my Instagram and I got a couple questions in there as well, and I kind of wanted to answer those because a lot of them were pretty similar, and I'm hoping within this studio setup you'll be able to, find some solutions that might help you out. So yeah, let's check it out. All right, so the first question, or I guess I should say concern, comes from Aldo is taken, and he says, I'm worried about your back. And I'm guessing that's because in the photo, I have a little stool, and I mainly have these for friends because I set that aside. You can see my studio is basically a stand-up studio. I prefer to stand when I'm making music. I feel like it just allows me to get into the music a bit more. So yeah, I've had a standing studio for maybe about 5 years now, and it's been good. I mean, it's cool. I'll pull the stool out when I want to arrange, but for the most part when I'm just jamming, I just kind of stand, and it's been good. It did take a second to get used to it. I have a carpet here as well, or sometimes I'll just wear some comfy sandals that I only keep inside the house so I don't bring outside to inside kind of thing. It's been good. So yeah, I really prefer a standing studio when it comes to making music, because it always just feels weird, hunched over in a chair, really getting into something, and then you're like, is this what I'm gonna be doing in a club? Probably not. So it just feels a little unnatural. I really enjoy standing and performing the song, and I feel like it translates well into the music as well. Des Music says, the lamp is amazing. Where did I get it from? So this lamp, it's like a little chandelier-y thing. I got it from IKEA. Literally, this whole studio setup, minus the blanket, is from IKEA. That plant, IKEA. This rack is IKEA. It's from the garage section. I don't know the name. I think at some point I kind of took the sticker off of it, but each shelf can hold up to 110 pounds, and I kind of like it like this. I do need to get some lights though, because under here, I know the expander well enough that I know what I'm hitting, but at night when it's a little dark in here, this has a deep shadow and it's kind of hard to see some of the buttons and parameters, so I'm gonna try and get some LEDs underneath this section so I can actually see everything. This is perfect, these are perfect. I use this the most, this second, that a lot, this a lot. And that's, for the most part, kind of storage. I try not to use too many things at once because I get overwhelmed. This is right here because, yeah, I can slide out, do my thing, grab samples here. IKEA desk, IKEA calyx thing. I guess the little arm for the monitor is not IKEA. But yeah, IKEA, even this carpet's IKEA, shelf IKEA, lamp IKEA, plant IKEA. Now IKEA just needs to make some synthesizers because I'm sure I'll end up picking those up too. All right, and the next one is from Warm Gloom, and then there's a couple others in here that basically are wondering where are my NPCs. Well, there's one there, there's also one over there, and then there's one in the bedroom. 4,000, 2,000, 1,000. And I keep them, I like to make music on the NPCs as just the NPCs, because another question I got was, do you only use the NPCs live? And yes and no, because I do like to use them live. They're really good centerpieces, but I really enjoy making music on just them and nothing else, and maybe just a couple records with the turntables over here. So yeah, I mean, that's just, I like using them that way, because unless I'm using the 4,000 with the 8 outs or the ADAT, which is the digital fiber output, then I can just run, ADAT into my interface and have all 8 outputs. I find it kind of a chore to have to keep muting all tracks and recording each thing, but then I don't really get the arrangement, and it just kind of becomes this big hassle, so I end up just recording a stereo out of the NPCs, basically straight to SoundCloud most of the time. Oh, this is a good one. Does the Pro 3 have some extra sound possibilities compared to Peak? Short answer is, I guess yeah. I wouldn't necessarily say extra, because they're, as much as they are different, where Peak is hybrid, I guess they're technically both hybrid, right? Because the Pro 3, which by the way I absolutely love, never bought a synth so fast, paid my own hard-earned cash for that thing, I love it. But where it's cool is it has 2 VCOs plus 1 wavetable, but it's only paraphonic and or mono as well, where Peak is 8 voices. This is only technically kind of 3 paraphonic or just monophonic. Peak has all digital, the Oxford oscillators, which are FPGA based oscillators, but analog signal path after that. Pro 3 is basically the same, except you have the 2 VCOs at the beginning. You get a couple more envelopes, and that's really it. But then you get the crazy sequencer on the Pro 3, and I just love the way paraphonic synths sound because they do that weird voice kind of stealing, allocating way, and you can kind of use that to your advantage when you're doing weird stuff with the sequencer as well as the arpeggiator. It's got the keys, it's got a bunch of CV gate out, so they are completely 2 different synths. And I was messing with this and Peak the other day, and I was like, this is all I need. I can sell everything right now. If I just had a Pro 3, a Peak, and an MPC for some drums or something, I am beyond set. What the heck? Okay, I guess it's gonna rain in LA today. Next question. HobanMMusic says, do you use the Kajimi a lot standing up there? Yeah, I do, because again, like I probably said a million times in this video already, this is the perfect height for me. You can see standing here right at my face level, boom, 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 do whatever I need to do. And sure, I do a couple performative things on there once in a while, but set it, forget it, shoot it some MIDI notes from Ableton and push, and I'm kind of set. Or if I have another sequencer on here, I use the U388C by Elysium a lot, and I'm thinking about getting the ERM multi-clock, which is the audio rate MIDI thing, because I know it reduces jitter and stuff, because I'm starting to kind of notice that stuff a lot more, and it's starting to kind of bug me. But yes, I do use the Kajimi a lot. I guess in terms of sense of what I use the most right now for this week has been the Pro 3, just because I got it and I'm very excited about it. Do a bunch of cool stuff on there. Avalon, or this, which is the bass line. I've been using this a lot too. They just finalized the firmware on it. I'll have a video coming out on this thing soon too. Yeah, it's either that, the Avalon, or like first go-tos, then it comes the Pro 3, then we jump over into the Zen delay for one of these things, and then most likely after that, since I do chords on the Pro 3, which it's not really meant to do that, but I just like the way it sounds, I'll do lead stuff here. If I can't do lead stuff there or chords on the Pro 3, Peak solves any problem, anything that I've ever needed. Or I'll do weird things. So it's either this, or this are utilizing the same space within a song, or they kind of trade off duties, I guess, if that's the right term. And then, yeah, that's basically it. Then all my rack stuff, I've been using the Orbit a lot lately. It's just fun, cheesy 90s stuff. But as far as the Kajimi goes, yeah, I still use it a lot, and I probably use the Deckards more, to be honest. Granditrium says, is that a Korg Electribe on your desk? And yeah, it is, this one. This thing's awesome. I got it at Square Wave Sound in Salt Lake City. Chris over there hooked it up. If you're in Salt Lake, go say what's up. That guy's super cool shop. It's got some video games in there as well. And yeah, I use it a lot. I've been shooting samples of it into drum racks in Ableton and just sequencing with drum racks because it separates all the sounds and allows you to get a better mix. I'm kind of having a change of heart. I used to be very, I didn't mix anything. I just changed the volume because I was doing everything on the 4000, the MPC, which only had like a EQ3 equivalent-ish kind of thing on it, which meant you could no longer use the low pass filter or high pass filter on there because that was now your filter. So I just kind of, did not mix stuff and just recorded it straight in, and it sounded fine. No one was like, this sounds unmixed. So I was like, cool, I'll just keep doing that. But lately I've been wanting to maybe add reverb to a snare or something kind of, I guess, a little bit more defined and a little more polished. So I've just been using drum racks. So I do a lot of my drums now in Ableton, but then have all my other sound sources coming from all my synths. But it's funny because the drum rack's technically using sounds from a lot of the drum machines. Like I have the ADS7 Mark II by AVP, and yeah, I'll create weird drum sounds on this and just sample it in and then trigger it for life and save them basically. But yeah, to answer that question, that's an Electribe ER1. And last but not least, are all instruments connected to a mixer or an interface? Do you pick and choose how you feel? So this is a bit of a half and half question. They are kind of hardwired. You know what, one second. All right, so as far as the wiring goes in my studio, For the most part, everything is ran to the back of this patch bay. I have another one that I have yet to install that I want to run all my effects pedals through so I can actually do some quick patching. Some stuff is half normal, so the M1, the JV1080, and the Orbit, these are all, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I think it's the Expander is 7, 8, Kajimi is 9, Deckard's is 10, Avalon's 11, or I call it the desk mono because it's either the modular, the ER1, the baseline, or the what the hell was I just saying? That's basically whatever's on the desk that's monophonic. There's one cable up there that I can just keep switching things out, and then the rest are empty, and I can just patch in whatever. Sometimes I'm using a compressor or some more effects, so I'll run those back in on the last couple channels. But I have 16 inputs. They're not all being used at once. I had that set up downstairs, and it was just, I'd go in there and I was trying to use like 8 polysynths in a song, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? It's just this wall of sound. So this is kind of nice to be able to have things ready to go, but not fully, so you actually have to make that conscious decision of, okay, today I'm using blah, blah, blah. So for example, I have the M1. I haven't been using it as much lately, so I've just been plugging in the Pro 3 right here. And that's just replacing the Pro 3. But I'm getting to a point where I just want to run the Pro 3 to the back because I just have this connection all the time, so I'd like to keep the front as clean as possible. But I'm using the 8-Pre X, I've been using this forever, and then the Octapre Dynamic, it hasn't changed, I've been using this for years. I like this for drum machines because it's got the built-in compressors on every channel. This is really clean, it's got the air mode. I guess full disclosure, I do work for Focusrite, so that's, you know, keep that in mind, but I've been using them since before I even worked there, and I've never had any problems, and I always forget that I even have to go through an interface because it's just always working. Yeah, so that's kind of the main setup, I guess, is just patch bay, interface, pick and choose what you want to use, and that's really it. But I hope you found this video helpful. This is the studio setup, and yeah, if you have any questions and whatnot, leave them down, I guess, in the comments below, because it would probably be fun to do another video to further, deeper explain the workings of all this. But yeah, it's been working great. It's so easy to make music in here, and I've been just, you know, every night do an hour at least, and it usually ends up being 3 hours. So it's just that initial push of getting yourself here to do stuff, and stuff will happen. It's almost like going to the gym. The hardest part is getting there, but once you're there, you're good to go. So yeah, anyway, I'll see you next week. Share the love, share the knowledge. Knowledge is power. Peace.